Welcome to Al Jawahar in downtown Old Delhi. If you want to chow down on some mighty fine street-side Indian food, then you've come to the right place. So I was sprinting around the mean streets of downtown Old Delhi, came across a street-side establishment called Al Jawahar and felt instantly drawn toward it. Although I had no particular plan to enter this establishment, I felt a pull toward it nonetheless, a gravitational pull to be exact. It's almost as though my stomach just commandeered the rest of my body and took full control over my motor movements. So I approached that tandoor oven, but not of my own free will, mind you. I approached that tandoor oven as if possessed by some inscrutable gastrointestinal force. Now I gotta be honest, at first I was feeling pretty alarmed by the fact that I lost full control over my body. But by and by, I started to see eye to eye with my captor. I felt like I had a bad case of Stockholm Syndrome via my stomach. So we waltzed on into the place and took ourselves a seat. And as soon as I sat down in the place, my stomach did all the talking and ordered a whole mess of food. And I must admit, at this exact moment in time, I was feeling pretty torn. I mean, on the one hand, I wanted to cry for help, maybe slip a note to the restaurant staff. But on the other hand, even I got to admit that food was looking pretty good. I felt like maybe my stomach had made wise food choices after all, but then again, maybe that's the Stockholm Syndrome talking. At any rate, we started digging into that tandoori butter roti, and then we got ourselves a nice big chunk of chicken tikka. And as you can see, that big chunk of chicken has a gigantic hole in it from the kebab stick with which it was grilled. So or should I say we, started to wrap that chicken into the butter roti, and I must admit it's looking mighty fine. It's looking as snug as a bug in a buck wild rug, so I took myself a bite and whoa, baby cakes. That chicken and roti combo was tasting pretty good, but it was also tasting pretty dry, so my stomach compelled me to dip it into the Malai Kofta. Seemed like a decent call to me, so I looked at that morsel for but a moment, then I took myself another bite, and oh, man. Holy masala dogs, that flavor combo was tasting Narendra Modi-licious. That Malai Kofta gravy was tasting creamy sweet and tomato tangy, and it went perfectly with that yogurt and spice marinated chicken. And at this point, I was enjoying that flavor combo so much that I started attracting attention from the restaurant staff. Unwanted attention, I might add. I mean, a plan I had when I was going into this place was to make eye contact with one of the restaurant maestros and blink twice to indicate that I needed some help. But at this stage of the game, I was too deep in. I didn't need their help anymore. Anyway, I tried matching this piece of chicken with the bread, but what the hell, it's a tad too small. I guess I ripped off too small a piece of roti over there. That's a classic rookie move. I sure feel like the village dunce now, so I ripped off an even bigger piece of bread and got ready to dip that into the Malai Kofta. And as you can see, I started getting into it. I started dipping that thing in there like my very life depended on it. And oh my Narendra Modi, that incredible dry chicken and wet Malai Kofta gravy combo was changing my life, presumably for the better. So with all that taken into account, I most definitely must rate that particular flavor combo a 5 out of 5 Maharaja dogs. I mean, that bread is good, that chicken is great, but that Malai Kofta gravy is simply incredible, sweet cheeks. It's got a nice creamy and buttery sweet, slightly cinnamony chili powder explosion of tomato flavor. And I get the strange sensation just biting into that flavor combo that it was designed specifically for me, or should I say, for us. Long story short, that right there is a pretty nice flavor combo. Dare I say, a decent flavor combo. So next up, what do we have here? We have some Paneer Tikka, and whoa, hold the phone. What in the wide world of Narendra Modi's is going on with that char grill action? I mean, hey, don't get me wrong, I like a little char just as much as the next guy, but that one side of the paneer looks like it's burnt to a crisp. Hell, even my stomach was raising its eyebrows on that one. Nevertheless, I figured I'd keep an open mind, an open heart, an open stomach, and an open dick on the future caloric possibilities of this flavor combo. So I took myself a bite, and wow, I must admit I'm kinda surprised. I was expecting that bite to taste like carbonized cheese, but actually I didn't taste much char grill flavor after all. I mean, there was a slight char grill flavor, but overall there wasn't much flavor in general, so I figured I'd add a little Malai Kofta to the mix. Can ya blame me? Then I took myself a savage, damn near tribalistic bite, and although that Malai Kofta did improve the flavor a tad, it still wasn't as good as that chicken and Malai Kofta combo. I mean, I think this is my first time having Paneer Tikka, so I don't really know what it's supposed to taste like, but still I'm feeling pretty confident that there must be some better Paneer Tikka out there somewhere. So with all that considered, I think I'm gonna have to rate this Paneer Tikka on its own a 2 out of 5 Maharaja dogs. Reason being because that puppy didn't have much flavor at all, and for a second I was literally convinced that I was eating air. So after chomping on some more of that air-flavored paneer, I moved on to the Jeera Rice. Now, it took me quite a while to try out Jeera Rice in India, but once I tried it out, I was wondering what I was doing with my life all these years. Jeera means cumin in Hindi, and Jeera Rice is basically rice that's been cooked up with a whole lot of cumin seeds. And I gotta say, as simple as that variation on rice may sound, the mere addition of those cumin seeds enhances the flavor of the rice greatly. So I started spooning that Malai Kofta directly into the Jeera Rice, and I was starting to look a bit closer into that Malai Kofta. I thought Malai Kofta was supposed to have some big-ass fried paneer and potato balls in it, but I didn't see anything like that. It kinda tasted like the paneer and potato was just mashed up and evenly dispersed throughout that Malai Kofta. And that's all fine and good, but sometimes there's a psychological factor to having a big-ass ball as part of your meal. I mean, what would you rather eat, a meat ball or a crushed-up piece of meat? I'm pretty sure any sane individual would go for the meat ball any day of the week. So keeping that in mind, although that Malai Kofta and Jeera Rice combo is tasting mighty fine, I think I'm gonna have to rate it a 4 out of 5 Maharaja dogs. After all, I wanted a little deep-fried ball action in my life. Can you actually fucking blame me? So after polishing off the vast majority of that meal, we sprinted on over to a famous street-side establishment called Gianni's. This joint is known for its Rabri Faloodas, and we got one because we wanted ourselves a sweet motherfucking treat. So the maestro was frantically mixing and mashing some Rabri and some ice cream into that mix, and then he gave us the Falooda. So I took myself a sip, and whoa boy. That mofo was chilled to the max, and it was tasting sweet beyond belief. It had a sweet, creamy, jaggery, and condensed milk flavor to it. There were also some almonds and ice chips in that bitch, and there was a whole lot of random-ass pieces of vermicelli swimming around in there. And considering all the flavors popping off in that mother, I think I'd have to rate it a 4 out of 5 Maharaja dogs. Reason being because it was a sweet, delectable treat, it was just a tad too sweet for my liking. And plus, although it was tasting mighty fine, having that random-ass vermicelli swimming around there just made it a tad harder to eat. Nevertheless, that was a decent blood sugar spiker right there. Anyway, that about does it for this Indian food tour, but if you want to see more, then feel free to check out my previous episodes. I got an episode about foods in Leh Ladakh, and I got an episode about Indian chats, just to name a few. I've got those links down in the description box. So don't forget to subscribe for all your dreams to come true, and thanks for watching this video. Why don't you leave a comment?